Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the South Jersey Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Karang, and today we're welcoming another very special guest. But first, I want to introduce this episode's co-host and member of the South Jersey Entrepreneurs Board, Justin Deal. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for coming in and filling on the spot. So, first, before we introduce our guest, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so Justin Deal, I'm the Vice President of Payday Payroll Resources. We are a family-owned payroll company focusing on 50 and under employees. I'm on the board with South Jersey Entrepreneurs, and I am also a Jersey Man member. So it's a great day for me. Kind of get to dabble in both and help everybody out. But very honored to be a part of this today, and really looking forward to interviewing Ken and finding out a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. So right before we get into that, I just want to ask, how did you get involved in South Jersey Entrepreneurs, and what's your favorite part about being a board member and just a member of the community here?
So it's actually John and I, for probably about a year and a half, had just never met. And when he was one of those people, everybody kept saying, you two have to get together. So we actually met at another networking event at Bonesaw, and we hit it off, and he told me about this idea. And I definitely love being younger myself, trying to help that next generation really find their focus and realize that sometimes it might be better to work for yourself than for somebody else. So this was a no-brainer. And my favorite part is it's just really helping people. I like to be considered a connector. I'm very passionate about trying to help others first. And this has definitely given me another opportunity to do so.
Definitely. I can agree with you on that. I love the fact that we were able to help the people and kind of just not just be there, but also like educate them too and say, listen, there's other people in your boat and I'm one of them, and I can introduce you to someone who has, beaten the obstacle you may be stuck on right now. So I'm with you on that. It's awesome. So, all right, let's get right into it. Now I'm very excited to announce our third guest, Ken Dunek. Ken, thank you so much for coming in today. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I currently own Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine and USA Man franchising. I moved into the area here in 1980 to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. I was a member of their Super Bowl team in 1980 and was able to carve out a 6-year career in pro football. Played briefly for the Colts and Giants, and then 3 years with the Philadelphia Stars of the USFL. We won the USFL twice, and it was a great team and a great league. I retired from football in 1987 and began my professional career selling paper to magazines, newspapers, and printers up and down the East Coast, and really stayed in that business for about 30 years until we decided to launch Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine December 2010.
Wow. Did you ever get in that feeling? Did you ever think that selling paper was just going to be a job at first? Or did you feel like, this might lead to something, or?
Not necessarily journalistically. I had a journalism background. I majored in communications and have a degree in television and broadcast journalism, but never had a chance to use it, primarily because when I retired from football in 87, I had a family, and then in 1989, I had triplet daughters. So I had to put all my journalistic aspirations on the back burner and make as much money as I could, which I continue to do to this day. But the magazine was kind of a fluky thing, to be honest with you. I wrote a book in 2008 called An Improbable Journey, and it was just a series of short stories about all the interesting people I've met in my life, people like Joe DiMaggio and Mike Tyson and John Travolta.
Wow.
And a local reporter read the book and liked it and actually approached me with the idea of starting a magazine. Actually, initially it was going to be a publishing company because we had such a nightmare getting the book published. But then he wanted to go in different directions with a men's magazine. He didn't see anything on the landscape, particularly for men. So we created Jersey Man magazine, December 2010. Put out a couple issues, and we decided that it was a viable business, and we were each going to make a sizable investment to run the company. At that point, he backed out. So I took over his position, actually found another investor, and really went forward, primarily because I had some business contacts. I didn't have a mega recognizable name in the area like a Ron Jaworski or Wilbur Montgomery, but enough people knew me from sports that it helped my visibility. And then I had printing connections through my paper business and access to wholesale paper, and it just seemed kind of a natural thing to do. However, it was a difficult time. In December of 2010, the economy was still bad.
Right.
Fighting the
Right.
perception that print is dying. Newspapers are having a really rough time right now. So we always had a game plan for the business, initially a magazine, subsequently a business network, and then, of course, our gala and all the other subsequent avenues that we've branched out into.
Definitely. Yeah, I know. Jersey Man and Philly Man are is highly known now for just the events like the visibility for that is just huge. How did you guys get into starting the events from just becoming a magazine?
Yeah, I mean, we would invite guests to these very small events. Back then, it was only like 30 or 40 people would show up, and I would invite potential print advertising buyers to the events in order to try to sell them print advertising. We were getting feedback from the invitees that said, listen, I really like this, but my company just won't do print advertising. They don't believe in it. There's no budget for it. And we wanted to figure out a way how to monetize the people that wanted to attend these events. We didn't want to sell tickets to the event because then it's not a private exclusive network. So 3 years into it, we came up with the Legacy Club concept, which was really designed as a way for non-advertisers to be able to attend these private monthly events. And we were hoping for 50 to 100 people. We thought if we could get that would subsidize some of the losses that are incurred with the magazine, because it's very expensive to put out a print publication. And lo and behold, here 6 years later, we have over 300 members in our Legacy Club. From that has spawned a Chairman's Club, which is a 5-figure investment and business specific, and we have 18 members in the Chairman's Club. And then, of course, our gala is now 5 years old, and that recognizes 6 Man and Women of the Year honorees. We recognize them for their business excellence and philanthropy in the area, and that is mega popular. Justin is spearheading our ticket drive, and he's done a great job with that. But we expect 600 plus people at Ballroom at the Bend this year, hosted by Yuki Washington of Channel 3, which we're kind of proud of that relationship. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. This has really taken off far beyond my expectations. And the other note that I'll say is I work with 3 of my daughters. My daughter Ashley is kind of my right-hand person. She handles a lot of the business aspects. Jamie is her assistant. And then Alexandra, who writes the fitness column, she is an administrative assistant in the business. My other daughter, Taylor, who is one of the triplets, I call her the black sheep of the family. She's an OR nurse at Jefferson Hospital in the cardiac
She's like, I'm
unit.
staying out of this.
Yeah, she said,
you guys got it.
Yeah.
but it's a blessing to work with them, and something that I never anticipated, but I'm glad it worked out that way.
Of course, and I've met your 3 daughters who are involved, just being in the business for a couple of years. They're awesome, and they seem to love what they do, and it's great that 1, you get to work with family. 2, you get to work with people who just love to do what they do. They put their heart and soul into it, and they support it. So it's really important to have that foundation, under your wing there.
No question. I think the greatest advice I could ever give anybody is do what you love to do, and the money will follow. I mean,
That's great advice.
If you're passionate about what you're doing and you believe in it and you'll work it to the nth degree, the money will come eventually, or you will go in a direction that is healthier for you. Just working at a job and marking time for money, I think, is a bleak existence, and I couldn't imagine doing it. I mean, when I transitioned from football, the reason why I went into sales was because I was used to an above-average lifestyle, so I could make as much money as I wanted.
Yeah.
But I also wanted my freedom. I wanted to be I didn't want to sit in an office. I wanted to be on the road. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to play golf occasionally when I wanted to. And so, although sales is a difficult job, it turned out to be the right avenue for me, and it led to all of this.
Definitely. Yeah. I think the sales role, I'm in a sales role myself, and I definitely see, 1, the freedom, but 2, I can build my business the way I want to build it.
Right.
I'm not building it the way that someone else wants to, or,
And unlimited potential, really, with
exactly.
a lot of things.
And that's another thing too, is that I want to touch on what you said. You want to have fun with what you're doing, because then you're going to find a way to monetize it. There's no question about it, right? I mean, I think that's really good advice, because a couple conversations I've had with younger professionals who are, maybe have their full-time job, which pays the bills and they have their benefits, but then they have their side gig and that's their passion. And they are so scared to make that leap because they know it's what they want to do, but they're getting kind of burned out, and they know that they can't put that 100% in right away because, one, they're scared, and two, they don't have the resources right away. It takes time, and one, that's what we want to try to do is be that connector, but it's hard and it's scary too.
It is scary, but I will say this: it's easier to do when you're younger and you don't have as many responsibilities. For me to start this, I had 4 kids in college at the time, so failure was not an option. Plus, I invested a large chunk of my savings in the business, and I worked really hard not to lose that investment. But I can tell you this, my advice would be to, everyone's situation is different. Look at it carefully, but you'll be, if you dedicate yourself to what you're doing, it will work, and you'll feel liberated. So take the plunge. I mean, it's a little bit like jumping out of an airplane and hoping the parachute's going to work, right? It's probably going to work, but you've got to work the business like your life depended on it, and it does. I mean, if you're going to leave a job and work a side deal full time, you've got to devote blood, sweat, and tears. And there were some sleepless nights with this. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't easy.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
I tell this story all the time. I remember one day I had an 8:30 appointment, and I got to the office and the person didn't show up. I had a 10:30 coffee, and I was in the parking lot, and the person called me and said they weren't going to make it. And I went to a lunch appointment, and the person had to reschedule, and I couldn't wait to get to my 2 o'clock appointment. So at that point, I knew I was onto something here.
Yeah.
Those 3 disappointments didn't sap my energy from wanting to go to that 4th appointment. And eventually we just fell onto the businesses that made sense for them. They had marketing budgets, and then like the Legacy Club, like I said, has grown beyond our wildest dreams. So, but you just keep pedaling hard. I played with a football player, Sam Mills, who was a great linebacker with the Stars. He went on to the Saints and Panthers, and he was a little guy, 5'9", 225 pounds. Everybody told him he was too small to play pro football. He was the hardest hitting football player I ever saw. I played against Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor, a lot of great players. Nobody hit you like Sam Mills. But his mantra was keep pounding. I mean, just keep pounding. Just every play he would get up and pound and pound. And that, when you use that philosophy, you almost have to succeed. If you have a marketable product or service and you have that philosophy, it would be hard to fail. And so you got to trust in it and trust in yourself.
Definitely have some faith and just keep trying. Right. You always that's what can be discouraging about that sales role, is that it's mostly rejection if you think about it. Like, it's
can't take it personal.
Exactly. You can't take it personal, but someone at some time in their moment, someone out there is going to want your product or service, and it's going to be the right time for someone. And if you stop making those phone calls, if you didn't go to that 4th lunch or that coffee appointment at 2 o'clock, that opportunity may have not have been there for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's another great point of advice for this, is just keep pounding.
Yeah, the rejection is hard to take, but like I tell my staff all the time, and listen, we have good days and we have bad days. I get the door slammed in my face a lot, but as I tell my staff, I say, listen, don't get too high or too low. Stay on an even keel. But if this thing didn't work, why do we have 300 plus Legacy Club members and a book full of advertisers and 18? I mean, it works. We just have to find the right people that it works for, and it's not going to be right for everybody. But that shouldn't deter you from, continuing to call on people and trying to find new business.
Exactly. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, that's right.
100%. Right. But you guys at the Legacy Club have done a great job. I tell you this all the time. It's you make it actually easiest of all the groups I'm in to bring people to. Because it's not, a lot of places you go, it's very business card heavy. They expect referrals for some groups.
Yeah.
It's where this is truly just genuinely connecting with people. It's always at great venues, networking and cocktails go hand in hand in my eyes, so love that. But I mean, people do. It's like almost every event I have a few guests because people want to check it out and see what's happening. Yeah,
our tagline is we're a social club where business happens, and the reason why I think we're so popular is that because you're really going to a party once a month. It's a nice venue, some pretty good food. We have 20 to 40 guests at every event, so you're going to meet somebody new. And it's really something to look forward to. We don't do a long speech. I grab the microphone for 5 minutes and thank our sponsors and Chairman's Club members and a couple other people and give away some door prizes. And the night is there for you to network. And I think, and we don't sell our thing by downgrading other things. Chambers have their place. I'm a member of all of them. Other networking groups are good in their own right. We just have found a niche for us to do it a little bit differently, and it's been working.
That's great, and just to be a part, that's respectable, especially, a lot of people, a lot of networking groups are the same. Come here, drop your business card, and then you speak to maybe the same 5 people over and over again, but that's nice to, build a community where there's always people wanting to come in, and there's always different people there, and, kind of driving the conversation versus a super structured type of networking event. And I think that's definitely attractive to a lot of business owners and salespeople as well.
Yeah,
so
one other thing to add too is we've been talking a lot about the Legacy Club. So for any of the younger folks, we also have an Infinity Club. That's for the 40 and under. And I'd say all the events, we're averaging about 50 people that come out. So it probably sounds like we're only talking about the higher tier folks in Legacy Club, but there's a great mix of young professionals in there as well.
No question, the Infinity Club has kind of spawned off into its own little network, and Ashley and Alex and Jamie take care of that, and that's worked out well. We also do pop-up events. So when you become an advertiser or Legacy Club member, you now get access to the Legacy Club events, which usually draw 200 to 300 people every month. You get access to the Infinity Club events if you're 40 or under or look like you might be. It's a little bit loose with those rules. And then the pop-up events that we have once a month, and that we really do those to help facilitate business for the venues that can't house our big events. It's hard to find venues that can,
especially with 300
that can
people.
host 200 to 300 people. So for, like I said, we just had a recent pop-up event at Ocean Prime. Very nice restaurant, had a private room upstairs. We had 30 or 40 people there, and they put out some nice hors d'oeuvres. They did a nice cash bar. And again, we just keep trying to add value for people to help them decide to do business with us.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. That's such
an
a
amazing
great
group to be a part of.
Definitely.
I mean, a lot of the networking groups you go to, people are really there to help you, but I always say it's one of the most welcoming rooms. I've never reached out to another member, whether it be for a favor or for business, and had them not be ready to just jump in and full-heartedly and help me. So it's been really great just to kind of have that resource is invaluable when it comes to business.
Definitely. Now, before we dive deeper into Ken's journey, we just wanted to take a short commercial with our quick word from our sponsor.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Dunek, the publisher and managing general partner of Philly Man and Jersey Man magazine. I just want to invite you to attend one of our premier networking events. You can find out what we're all about, whether there's advertising, networking with people, or attending our gala, which benefits charities in the area. I think you would benefit from a relationship with Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine. I can be reached at my cell, 856-912-4007, or my email, ken@jerseymanmagazine.com.
Welcome back, guys. Ken, thanks so much for giving us a little bit more insight on your journey and your business, and it sounds like such a great opportunity for young professionals to come in and just kind of get a warm intro into the networking atmosphere and also meet super great individuals as well. Justin, I did want to ask you, you have involvement with Ken's company as well, with the South Jersey or the Jersey Man and the Philly Man stuff.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more how about you got involved with that and what your position is with that and how it's helped you.
So for salespeople out there, here's a perfect story of always being ready to sell. So I actually ran into Ashley, who I'd known through friends, through our athletic circle in the past. But we played in a charity tournament it was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at the Y in Mount Laurel. And she was talking to a buddy of mine, and a few things she said just happened to, I connected the dots. I was like, oh, you're with Jersey Man. Previous sales rep of ours was in the group. So I was, I've always been familiar with them. I just wasn't the person actually going and facilitating before. And she was just simple. She was like, hey, why don't you come out to our next event? It's, I think that one was actually Chicky and Pete's over in Philly. So I went, and as Ken was saying, there's about 300 people in a room. And at first, and I'm a very outgoing person, you're kind of like, wow, all right, where do I start? And that's where then Ken's daughters come in. I mean, Ashley is fantastic at connecting people, especially in the beginning. Now that I know people, she'll still be like, do you want me to go intro you? And I'm like, Ash, I have it. I'm a big boy. I can go walk over there and intro myself, but thank you. But it's just great. You really do. You just meet all these people, and it's it's not like some other groups where it's maybe just one industry. There's a ton of people that are somewhere in the same industries, and it's really about you refer who you like, right? So it's that building relationships. And every time I walk into an event now, it takes me about 30 minutes just to say my hellos and then catch up with people. And then it's like, oh yeah, I got to go meet some people too tonight.
Right.
But you really do. You just build this great camaraderie with just an amazing group of people. And like I said, the Duneks have been fantastic. Of any help, actually, I've definitely sent emails. Probably more regular than she would like. Just like, hey, what's this person's email? I didn't get their card, or let me know if this person registers for an event, because I've been meaning to meet them. And they do a wonderful job of connecting. So for anybody out there who needs either broaden your network, or you're just really looking for a different experience to meet great people, I would highly recommend reach out to me or Ken directly, and we'll get you as a guest for one of the upcoming events.
Definitely. That's great. Thanks, Justin, for expanding on that a little bit more.
Of course.
So Ken, let's get back to a little bit more on your journey. Every story, every journey has a rose and a thorn. Mm-hmm. Is there something during your journey to this point that you could actually pinpoint as your biggest failure, or a spot in your journey where you were like, what the F am I doing?
Well, I mean, the most disappointing part of my journey was when the USFL folded. I really felt like I had played with the Eagles and some other NFL teams and really felt like I could have continued my career. And I didn't get that opportunity primarily because the only offer I had after the USFL folded was from the Steelers, and it was for half the money I had been making. And at that time, I had just turned 30, and I didn't want to work for that amount of money anymore. I felt like I had paid my dues and proven myself. And it's a dangerous way to make a living. The money these guys are making now, that's life-changing money.
Right.
Back when I played, the minimum salary in the NFL was $25,000, and people were making that.
Wow.
So that was a disappointment. The transition from football, where literally one day I was signing autographs and the next day I was getting the door slammed in my face in a sales job, is a really sobering experience. I mean, you realize
Definitely.
that you are not in that football industry anymore. You're not going to be catered to and coddled. You have to go out and make it on your own. And it's a cold, cruel world out there. And luckily, I had a college degree and I had some communication skills. I think the thing that carried over with me was I felt the same burn to succeed in business, and especially with the magazine, that I did when I played football. And I have the same feeling now when I get a contract signed as I did when I scored a touchdown. I didn't score that many of them, but I have a feeling a lot more now with the contracts. But or if I scored a basket playing basketball at Memphis State. So I have that same feeling. And so that competitive drive I've been able to carry over into business, which has really sustained me. Early on in the magazine, I have to tell you, I think my first 3 appointments, I landed big ad deals. And I was like, geez, I should have started this years ago. I would have been rich by now, right? But then you hit the wall, and then you question yourself, and then, you make a financial commitment to the business, and all of a sudden the money's not coming in. And then you have, some moral issues. For example, we have a men's magazine. It's totally professional, no nudity, no profanity. I have a wife and 4 daughters. They have to be proud of it. But we were getting approached with gentlemen's clubs ads at the beginning, and my partners were going, "Are you going to take it?" And I said, "I'm not." I said, "Listen, we need the money. I get it, but that we have to use a long-term philosophy on this, and I have to be proud of what we're doing, and we're just not going." And we went in that direction, and it's proven to be the right philosophy. But when you're figuring out how to make payroll the next day and you're turning down significant ad dollars, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but you just, you have faith and you move forward and you just, work extra hard the next day to make up for it, and it all seems to work out.
It's definitely important to stick by that integrity of your mission that you had the dream for but I'm sure it's hard. You said you started this magazine when you had 4 daughters in college.
Right.
Like, I could imagine some sleepless nights, and
Yeah,
I would part of me was be like, I need to get a second job. I need to go do something. I'm stressing out just thinking about the stress that you were probably under. But it's great if you have a mission, if you have a goal in mind. It's important to be consistent with it and really stick by that. And like you said, it's grown into something that is super respectable and has a huge vision. You know,
I have a great support system too. My wife Terry, who has been we'll be married 38 years in March.
Congratulations.
Everything that I've tried, her response is, "I know you can do it. I believe in you. I know you can do it." Now, when you're walking away from a 6-figure income to start a magazine in a bad economy, fighting the perception that print is dying, and you have a partner that says, "I believe in you. I know you can do it," that's pretty special. She's given me the energy to make sure it's worked. So.
That's great. One of the best things that I thought you said was the big picture, though, because I feel like that's what, especially some of the younger generation, that's what we've lost. I think there's too much of a sprint mentality these days. It's
Of course.
how do I make 6 figures? That whether you do it ethically or not, it's people just want to get there.
Give me your business card. Give me the order. Right.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
I bet you 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And too many people think that way, and it's that's great. That you said, especially being, I can only imagine, right? It's like you said, it's payrolls due the next day, along the other bills, and the college bills coming in, interest being paid, and it's saying no to a big thing just because it really would. Like that, there's no way. What do we have about? You have 40% of the overall legacy members are women today. Is that
I would say
pretty
30
accurate?
to 40%.
Yeah, so you can almost guarantee that whole market would have been gone off of one ad, off of one payment that at that time would have probably made a world of difference. But
Right.
to where you are today, it's amazing how those little decisions, though, can really throw you off course or hopefully keep you exactly where you want to be and going in the right direction.
Yeah, but everybody gets tested in their career and in their and I love the fact that you guys are this South Jersey entrepreneurs. I really do believe everybody needs to be an entrepreneur because you can't rely on companies to take care of you anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, once you get to a certain salary level, they're going to look to cut you. I mean, the benefits thing is going away, and you need to learn how to be self-sustained. And one of the things that I liked what you said about sales is whatever sales job you have, depending on the system involved with that company, you really do own your own business because your success is all up to you, right? I mean, you can make as much money as you want. If you want to grind it out, if you want to take the day off, you're not going to get paid. But I've always thrived in that type of environment.
Pressure makes diamonds, right?
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
And it's all relationship building too. If you, like you said, you have that natural, competitive, outgoing personality. I think all of us sitting here have that same thing too, which helps us, have that success and, that relationship building. And you're selling yourself. You're not just selling the product. You're selling that relationship of, you can trust me. I want to help you just as much as you want to help me type mentality. So I think you touched on something too, is that it can be a little scary going to these networking events saying, here, I'll exchange my business card for your next deal. Or they're sitting there, hi, how are you? With your hand out, waiting for, okay, well, what are you going to give me before I even help you out? So
there's an old saying that when you talk to somebody, people hear the music and not the words. And basically, I can tell when someone's sincere or when they're not. I'm not as good as my wife. My wife is like an expert at it. I get fooled every once in a while, but I'm getting better at it. But seriously, I think our success has to do with we're for real. So if you sign on with us, we're going to give you our best effort to make sure we connect you with people that are going to help sustain you as a member, and you're going to want to be long-term with us, and then tell other people about it. Most of the 300 members that are in Legacy Club aren't people that we knew. They're people that Justin knew that he brought as a guest and became, part of our group. And I think, that's the biggest pat on the back for us is we really try to live up to our promises.
That's great. That's awesome to hear, and I think that's really heartwarming to people who maybe have heard of the Legacy Club and Jersey Man, Philly Man now, like who are maybe questioning coming to an event. Now they're probably like, when's the next one? I want to be there. I want to be first in line. But that's really humbling to hear that story where it's like I wanted to stick by the integrity of my mission, and it's like I knew I was kicked down a few times, but I kept pounding, and I was gonna still, follow my dream and my vision for my company. So besides, that was your thorn, your rose. Let's talk about your rose. So tell us about that time. Let's say back when your daughters were still in college and you were kind of fighting through those obstacles and those rocks in the road. And what was your turning point where you were like, I know I'm doing it right, and this is going to grow?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I was meeting with someone and I was doing my presentation, and I could tell that this person had no interest in what I was saying. I mean, he was opening mail and checking his phone while I was in the middle of my pitch, and I just knew it wasn't working. And to get rid of me, he gave me the name of someone. He goes, well, call my buddy. He might be interested. So I took the information, I went. And that person turned out to be the biggest client that we have ever had and has brought us a world of business. And it's all because I maintained my composure, even though the guy was treating me a little bit unprofessionally. I took the information. The guy that he gave me to loved what we're doing, and he's a major business in the area and brought us a ton of referral business. And that, I think, was the moment where we turned the page on the business, got that big flagship company involved with us, and that person, around the time the Legacy Club was being formed, it just created kind of this whirlwind of a monster that really gave us the impetus for the success that we're having today.
That's awesome.
That's one of my favorite stories to tell, because in the world of networking, it's not necessarily who they know, who you know, it's who they know, right?
Exactly.
So this guy wasn't interested, gave me his friend's name, and this person became a big client.
And that's important. You could have easily gotten up and be like, all right, man, it's not working.
Yeah.
I obviously might be the wrong time.
Right.
Thanks for taking your time, but it's good that you stayed persistent, because he kind of shoved it off.
Yeah.
He maybe had not seen the vision that you had, but this guy he referred to you certainly did. And I think that's fantastic. And that's definitely true, is you never know who knows who. So it's always important to just, one, be persistent, be professional and nice and courteous, because you never know who knows who.
Yeah, that's why you always have to remember how you talk to people,
Definitely.
too. People never forget how you make them feel.
Exactly.
That's one thing, and they're usually quick to spread that word. So
Definitely.
it's definitely one of those biggest things to always keep in mind. It's just great for sales, because I know especially for payroll in my industry, there's a few specific industries that we are hand in hand in.
Right.
And so there's a lot of folks that, not necessarily in their industry, I would need as a referral partner, but when it comes down to all the folks that they know, it's, that tier 7 referrals we have at this point in payday, because of who knows who. And a referral is the best compliment you can give these days.
Of course. Of course.
It's validation that you believe in what somebody else is doing.
Definitely. What a feel good moment. And that makes me, that's what lights a fire in me, because I'm, young in my business. I'm in title insurance, but I mean, I'm young in my business, and I'm maybe a year or two in, but that drives me, where I'm like, I know it's going to come. Like, I need to do the right thing. And hearing you, Justin, and you, Ken, and hearing these stories really kind of lights a fire under me, and, wants to drive me to do better and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we want to drive for everybody too. So. Well,
the nice thing about what you do is that everybody needs title insurance. So your success will be a product of how many people know you, trust you, have confidence in you to bring business into your company. For me, no one thinks they need a magazine ad. No one who doesn't know what Legacy Club is doesn't know what an effective networking tool it is. So we have to do a good job of creating value, exposing to people who we are, what we do, the benefit for them. And then if we're successful in getting that message across, that's when the business comes in. So you have a head up on the competition. Everybody needs title insurance. They got to go somewhere.
True,
might as well
that
do
is
it
true.
here. Yeah.
That is true.
Recession-proof,
Yes.
That's the key, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you. So just before we wrap up here, thanks so much for telling us about your story. If there's one piece of advice you could give your younger self, say you just, right when you got out of football, and now you had to figure out what you wanted to do. If there was that one piece of advice that you yourself now could tell your younger self, what would it be?
I think it's the thing that I've lived by my entire life is don't settle. I mean, I've always thought I could do things. I came from a real small town in northern Illinois, did not play high school football, wound up playing major college football and professional football while people laughed at me and said I couldn't do it. And the reason was because I had belief in myself, I was willing to work hard, and I wasn't going to settle. And I've always aimed really high, and you risk looking foolish if you miss, but I just had confidence in myself. I wouldn't have felt good about myself if I didn't try to do something special. And I did it with football, I did it with the magazine, and my advice to young people is believe in yourself, work hard, and don't settle.
That's a great word of advice. I love it. You know, it's so easy to think, especially in the world of social media, you're comparing yourself all the time to other people. You see commercials, you see Instagram photos, and you see ads on Facebook, and you're like, wow, I'll never be that. But you can't think like that. You know, you can't worry about what, you know, Joe Schmo is going to say. Oh, you'll never be able to do that. You know, like it's so discouraging to hear that all the time, but it's also that much more encouraging to hear people like yourself say, listen, just don't settle. I had people tell me I could never play football on here. I was playing years in the major leagues. Like, you know, it's really inspiring to hear that. Definitely.
And fun side fact that Ken probably won't throw out there, but his USFL jersey is actually in.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that? I backed my way into the Hall of Fame.
Love that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love sports.
Yeah.
I like to hear that stuff. That's awesome. So, but Ken, thank you so much for being our guest on our podcast for episode 3. It was really great to hear your story and super inspiring to myself. And it's great that we have another board member also involved with you. It's really cool, and I can't wait to get out to more events with your business. But if our listeners want to connect with you or the Legacy Club or anybody at Jersey Man, Philly Man, where should they go?
You can contact me, Ken, at jerseymanmagazine.com or call my cell, which is 856-912-4007. I'll put them in touch with whatever they're interested in, whether it's the media kit for advertising, whether it's Legacy Club information, Chairman's Club, or I think even if someone didn't have an interest in our business, they would want to attend the party of the year on November 7th. Our gala ballroom at the Ben is going to be a great time, and it's very inexpensive for what you get, and we give away prizes, and there's celebrities and a lot of fun. So if anybody's interested in any of what we have to offer, please call that number or email me, and we'll set them up.
And
That's
it is
awesome.
a masquerade themed event, so if anybody else, like my wife, that was like on her bucket list.
They're so
It was
fun.
a masquerade ball, she was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm so looking forward. So she's been shopping for the mask, and
Yeah.
I had to break the news to her since I'm the chair. She can't win the best mask award, but
Oh.
I might be a little biased.
We give a nice prize away at a weekend at Tropicana with
Whoa.
dinner, and so for the best mask, so people get creative.
Now
for
I
sure.
know. Well, that sounds awesome. Ken, thank you so much again. And that's a wrap. I mean, thanks so much for tuning into episode 3, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions to ask our future guests, follow SJ Entrepreneurs on Instagram and shoot us a DM by going to the Ask Our Guest highlight reel. Every episode, we'll be picking around 2 to 3 questions to feature on our Q&A segment on future episodes, so don't be shy. Go now, ask away. Thanks again, guys. See you next episode.